Well, hey there, everybody. It's your boy, Mr. Perry, and once again, we're back finishing up our summer homework. So I've pulled up our UML diagram of our pet class, and we went ahead and took care of the attributes on the previous video. We created a class file that allowed us to create objects of the pet class, and each object of the pet class has its own name, type, and age. We could get those values, we could set those values, and we could also return all of them in a toString method. So now we're going to look at, well, how do we give it behaviors? How do we make it do stuff rather than just hold, the values of different, pieces of information. So let's go ahead and get into that. Now, again, we're going to keep things pretty basic for this, first stab at it. I'm going to go over to Code.hs. I'm clicking on my sandbox, and then if I scroll down a little bit, I should see my virtual pet program. So let's go ahead and open that bad boy up. And right now, it's only showing me, I only have access to my program.java, but we need to work in the pet class. We need to add some behaviors. So if I go over here and click on pet, it now opens up the code for me, and as you can see, I now have the tab right here, so I can toggle back and forth. All right, so there are three things we want our pet objects to be able to do. We want them to speak, eat, and do tricks. So I'm going to go all the way to the end of the code, and I'm at the end of our toString method, and I'm just making sure that my cursor is outside of the curly brace for the toString method, but also inside the curly brace for the class file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter a couple times, and we are going to do public string speak and open close parentheses. Make sure you got a capital S on string but a lowercase s on speak, and then add your left-facing curly brace. When you hit enter, it gives you the right-facing one. So now we just need to define, what do we mean when we are having our virtual pets speak? Now, ideally, I could upload like a sound file, and anytime we want this thing to speak, we would actually hear the sound. But that's way advanced, and we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to go ahead and keep things simple. This is going to be very much text-based, at least for now. So what I want to do is I want to return a string, and let's see, we're just going to keep things generic for now. We'll just go ahead and say return hello. If we want it to speak, it's just going to say hello. Whether or not it's a dog, a bird, or whatever, it's going to say hello. Now I'm going to show you how to change this in a minute, but for right now, for the sake, for our very first, stab at this, let's keep it nice and simple. Then we need one that allows it to eat. So I'm going to say public, and again we're going to return a string, eat. Add my left-facing curly brace, hit enter, and this time I'm going to return, all right, what sound? We'll say munch, munch, munch. Okay, and a semicolon there. And then finally, public string do a trick, and again I'm using camel case for the names of my methods. Okay, so for doing a trick, we'll go ahead and return, let's see, we'll go ahead and say I am rolling over, and then I'll just use the @ sign a bunch of times because that kind of looks like a spiral rolling over. Why the heck not? All right. So there you go. We now added 3 behaviors, or in Java we call these methods. These are return methods because they are going to return strings. And that means all I need to do is to go into the main method, make sure that I have at least one object of the pet class created, which I do. I actually have 2. So I can now make these things do tricks. So let's see, if I do system.out.println, and let's go ahead and make Coco speak. We'll say Coco dot speak, open close parentheses, semicolon. All right, so now what I'm expecting when I run my program is it's going to print the toString method for Coco. It'll then print the toString method for Radini, and then I should say hello. Let's see if it works. And there you go. So that worked. Now, I don't know about you, but I am noticing that this console like readout thing is getting to be a little bit jumbled. So it might be beneficial to add some blank lines in between, you know, where I've got things happening. So let's go ahead and do both of the toString methods, but then let's go ahead and add a blank line. Now the way you add a blank line is you just do system.out.println, and then just open, close your parentheses, and that's it. As long as you don't have anything inside the parentheses, then that's just going to go ahead and print a blank line. So now I've got my blank line, I've got hello, I'm getting a little bit more formatting happening. Okay, so cool. Let's try a couple of others. Let's do our other methods. I'm going to go ahead and copy this line of code, paste it, and this time we're going to try it with Radini, R-E-D-I-N-N-I. Radini will then speak. And then let's go ahead and make Coco eat. And we will make Radini eat. And then let's go ahead and make them both do a trick. Do trick. And this will be Radini. Okay. So now once again, if I understand my code and what it's doing, I'm going to call the toString method for Coco and Radini and then get a blank line. And then I am expecting to see both of these objects speak, eat, and do a trick. So all of those things should happen twice. Let's run it. And hey, look at that. It all worked. Now the only problem is they're doing like literally the exact same thing, which is kind of lame. So I might want to maybe add a little bit of variety to it, right? So I actually can do that. I can go into pet.java, and let's go down to the speak method. All right, public string speak. I'm going to go ahead and go to this first line right here, and I'm going to just go ahead and delete this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if, and let's go ahead and say if, in parentheses, type, if type dot equals, you have to add more parentheses, or yeah, another set of parentheses here, dog with a capital D, and then let's say or type dot equals dog with a lowercase d. All right, oh, wait a second. It's not the word or. In Java, we have to use our up and down lines. So right above the enter key on your keyboard, there is a backslash, but if you hit shift, it's a straight up and down line. And in Java, this means or. The two lines up and down means or. All right, so if it equals dog, now we need to add curly braces for if statements. Hit enter. I'm going to go ahead and return bark, bark. Okay. And then I can do copy all of this. And let's say if it equals a cockatiel with a capital C, or if type dot equals cockatiel with lowercase c, then it should say chirp chirp. All right. I'll go ahead and make this lowercase b just for the sake of consistency. All right, so if it's a dog, it's going to say bark, bark. If it's a, oops, wait a second. I am noticing a problem here. So this curly brace that I have right here in front of that if statement needs to go away, and it needs to be added at the end of this. Hello. There we go. Needs to be added down there. All right, so if it's a dog, it'll say bark, bark. If it's a cockatiel, it should say chirp, chirp. And this is assuming I did my program code correctly here. Let's go ahead and try running it and see if we get different results. Oh, we got an error, missing a return statement. Pet.java, line 49. That's right here. Well, we're returning bark, bark, and we're returning chirp, chirp. I don't understand how there would be missing a return statement here. Okay, let's try adding an else. Maybe that's the thing, maybe that's what's getting it mad here. So I'll type in else, and then hit left facing curly brace, hit enter, and then let's return. So if it's not a dog or if it's not a cockatiel, let's just return hello, and that'll be our indication that it doesn't fit either of our types. So now when we run it, as it's now checking, that speak method is checking. Well, is it a dog? If it's a dog, it should say bark, bark. Is it a cockatiel? If it is, it should say chirp, chirp. So that's working. All right. So now let's go ahead and we can do we can modify our eat method and our do trick methods as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Make it a little bit more a little bit more customized here. So again, if, and then in parentheses, type dot equals dog with a capital D. Go outside the parentheses. 2 up and down lines, or 2 vertical lines means or. Type dot equals dog all lowercase. And there is a shortcut for doing that, by the way, for checking both capital and lowercase, but we'll learn that down the road. No big deal right now. Add my left-facing curly brace, hit enter. All right, so if it equals dog, we will return the string nom, nom, nom. I love doggy food. Okay. All right, well, if it's not a dog, then it might be a cockatiel. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these 3 lines of code and paste them down here. All right, let's check if it is a cockatiel. All right, well, if it's a cockatiel, we'll go ahead and make it say nibble, nibble. Nibble, nibble, I love birdseed. Oops. There you go. And then, all right, well, if it's not a dog and if it's not a cockatiel, in all other cases, we'll go ahead and do our else. Left facing curly brace, hit enter. We will just return munch, munch. So that's what it does if it's not a specific animal type. Okay, let's try running it now. Are we gonna work? Okay, there you go. We've got Coco saying bark, bark, nom, 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 I love doggy food. We've got Radini saying chirp, chirp, nibble, nibble, I love birdseed. I'm gonna go ahead and leave I am rolling over as is because that's totally what a dog would do. But let's go ahead and I guess what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and just take line 55 all the way down to line 63. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of this code. Control C, and then under do trick, I'll hit enter and paste it. All right, and then I'm gonna take my I am rolling over line and I'll replace that up here. If it's a dog, we'll go ahead and say I am rolling over. Let's say if it's a cockatiel, what kind of tricks do cockatiels do? Well, they do a lot of cool things. They can actually talk. They can obviously fly around. So we'll go ahead and say I am flying in circles. Oops. I am flying in circles, and then we'll just use a bunch of uppercase O's. Not the most exciting thing on planet Earth, but hey, it's something different. And all right, well, if it's not a dog and if it's not a cockatiel, we'll just say, here's my trick. And then we'll just give it a smiley face. Okay. So now I should be able to run it, and we should see different behaviors. There you go. Bark, bark, chirp, chirp. Num, num, num. I love doggy food. Nibble, nibble. I love birdseed. I am rolling over. I am flying in circles. So hopefully this gives you a pretty good sense of how Java works. What we've learned how to do is we've learned how to create a class file, and we've practiced that. And we did just kind of the standard class file stuff. We created our instance variables. We created our constructor. We did our get and set methods, and then we did our toString method. But then we did other stuff. We added additional methods, which will allow us to do some additional behaviors. And you've had a chance to learn how to do if statements. You've had a chance to learn, how to add or statements in and stuff like that. So we've covered a pretty good amount of ground here. So there will be a lot more information on what all this means and how all of this works. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and create one more object, pet, and this one we'll call Nikki. I also have a cat named Nickelodeon, but we call her Nikki for short. All right, pet Nikki equals new pet, and her name is Nikki, and she is a cat, and she is currently 16 years old. She's older than dirt. All right, so now down here, I'm just going to go ahead and do system.out.println Nikki.speak, open close parentheses, semicolon on the end. And now let's go ahead and make Nikki eat. And then we'll have Nikki do a trick. And what I'm expecting to happen is that when it comes to Nikki, because Nikki is not a dog or a cockatiel, we should get all of those generic ones. So let's try it out. And sure enough, there it is. Here's Nikki doing her stuff down here. Hello, munch, munch, munch. Here's my trick, smiley face. There you go. So we've now tested all of our different lines of code that we've written. Yay us, congratulations. We are now officially ready to start the class. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in class.